everyone, and welcome to Sports Paws on Q30. Alongside Gio Mio, I'm Miles McQuiggan. The NEC and ECAC regular seasons are moving into their final weeks. All four Quinnipiac teams have clinched playoff berths in their respective conference tournaments, so the fight for home court and home ice advantage is the focus for the Bobcats.
We have highlights from the week in Quinnipiac sports plus analysis of the weekend's action. Ben Dyes will break down basketball's Brooklyn weekend, while Mark Spillane will join us to talk about hockey.
The TD Bank Sports Center hosted 4 games in 4 days this week. It started Wednesday, when women's basketball closed out rivalry week against Central Connecticut. To tell you all about it, here's Gio.
Women's basketball was looking for the regular season sweep of CCSU Wednesday. Felicia Barron and the Bobcats were in search of win number 19. To the highlights. Jacqueline Babe with a three-pointer right here. CCSU got off to an early lead, which caused Coach Fabry to call a timeout. As she talks over with her bench, the first person to respond to this is Jasmine Martin. Shooting the shot right here, she misses, but goes for her own rebound, goes to the lane off the backboard, in for 2. Wasn't just Jasmine Martin, but also Felicia Barron gets in the act off an inbound pass, shoots it for 2, and you can book it. Felicia Barron also gets another shot here as she goes to her right, up for 2, and it's good. But let's not also forget about sophomore Brittany McQuain. Felicia Barron passes into the post to McQuain off the backboard for 2. But Brittany McQuain was not done there. Here she comes in the post, to her left, no, to her right, off the backboard and in for 2. But let's not also forget about Samantha Castella. A pass from Jacinda Dunbar. Castella blocks it, jumps it, shoots, and it's good for 2. CCSU did try its best to come back, though. It's just a Gabe passes to Kirsten Damon for a jump shot, and it's good. But Quinnipiac was too much as Jasmine Martin fakes a shot, goes up for the win. Shot as Quinnipiac wins 58-49. Here's Coach Fabry on the win.
Really good game for 40 minutes, and that's what you want to be doing this time of the year.
We have our little motto for the past couple weeks is never be satisfied, and I think before we all go out on the floor, that's all of our mindsets. And even at halftime, before the coaches come in, we all have our talks and have our say, and everybody's always saying the same thing. We are working towards winning a championship. We're working towards, postseason and getting a home court game. We're working for all this stuff, so we all have to keep ourselves grounded, keep everybody reeled in and keep everybody together and keep working for our common goal like we have been this entire season.
It was really great to see the girls who closed out the game weren't necessarily our starters, and that's really been where we've had a lot of success all season long. And I think that's just so important. When you're playing the last 2 weeks of the season, you're going into tournament time, that we really have used our depth. Our depth has been extremely productive.
3 Bobcats tallied double figures. Freshman Jasmine Martin led the way for QU with 15 points. But the story for the Bobcats was their defense, holding CCSU to 35% shooting. With the win, the team moves to 19-6 overall and 11-3 in the conference. We have more women's basketball later in the show.
Thank you, Gio. The St. Francis, New York Terriers are the surprise of the NEC in men's basketball in 2012. Picked 11th in the coaches' preseason poll, the Terriers entered Thursday night's contest at the Bank tied for 3rd in the NEC, sporting a 10-4 record in the conference. Up the hill we go for the highlights. Bobcats and Terriers Thursday night basketball. Brent Jones with the basket there. The Terriers led early. But here's Usman Drame off the board. The slam nearly takes down the backboard. Travis Nichols, one of the outside shooters for the Terriers, with a 3 there. Now back the other way, Garvey Young driving to the hoop, getting separation and the layup. Keem Johnson driving to the hoop. He's been the post presence in the absence of Drake Holloway this year, injured early in the season. And now here's Jalen Cannon on the night for Cannon, 13 points, 19 rebounds. Turnover here by James Johnson. They go the other way. Jones with the easy bucket. Now Mockford turns it over. Ben Mockford and Garvey Young will take it the other way for the layup. A lot of points off turnovers in this game. It was 30-26 St. Francis at the half. Now here's Cannon making the basket, made his presence felt throughout the night. And now Perunicic, the dangerous threat from the outside, makes a 3. Ike Azatam tries to answer with the floater off the glass and in. But a costly turnover here by Dave Johnson. And that would be the icing on the cake. St. Francis takes it by 8. Jalen Cannon led the Terriers with 13 points and 19 rebounds. For the Bobcats, Ike Azatam posted a double-double with 12 points and 15 rebounds, and Garvey Young added 15 points to the mix. Senior James Johnson was held to just 11 points in the contest. Results from the other men's basketball games later in the show. Joining us now in studio is Ben Diaz, basketball analyst for Sports Paws. Ben, thank you for joining us tonight. All right, a couple questions for you. We look at the men's basketball team without Jamie Jackson, without him throughout the weekend. How much is the absence of Jamie Jackson hurting this team?
Well, Miles, I think Jamie Jackson's absence has been huge in the middle. He's a key contributor on defense. His length in the middle and the paint has really hurt the Bobcats. I mean, Ousmane Drame and Ike Azatam have had to log key minutes down the stretch in the playoff run. And they've had, Oos was in foul trouble the other day, so it's a big loss when you don't have Jamie Jackson in the middle. And he's a junior, so his experience is also key to the playoff run.
All right, now moving to women's basketball, another win today. Is this the most well-rounded team in the NEC right now?
I believe it is the most well-rounded team in the NEC. You know, Trisha Fabry, she preaches defense. Their defense leads to offense. When they can create, you know, turnovers, lead to the fast break, get easy points in transition. They also have a key, their depth is really important. 13 players who log key minutes.
All right. Thank you, Ben. We'll have more from Ben Diaz later in the show. Gio.
Thank you, Miles. Acrobatics and tumbling traveled to Oregon over the weekend to take part in their second meet of the season and their first tri-meet against Oregon and Azusa Pacific. The Bobcats finished in third, posting a score of 255 points, 133, behind Oregon's 285.443 and Azusa Pacific's 281.218. The Bobcats' strongest event was the toss. Junior Christina Lasto and sophomore Trisha Pierce continued their strong season performances in the event. The Bobcats moved to 0-2 on the season, and their next meet is at Maryland on March 9th.
All right, we're going to take a short break here on Sports Paws. When we come back, we'll have women's hockey highlights as they continue to impress over the weekend against Union and RPI. We'll be right back.
Back here on Sports Paws, I'm Gio Mio alongside Miles McQuiggan, who has a recap on men's hockey's first game of the weekend.
Thank you, Gio. Men's hockey traveled to Troy, New York on Friday to square off against the Rensselaer Engineers. The Bobcats came away with the victory, defeating RPI 3-1. Goals were scored by Reese Rollheiser, his first of the season, along with Zach Curry and Corey Hibbler in the victory. Quinnipiac improved to 8-7-4 in the ACAC with the win and 16-10-5 overall. Head coach Rand Pecknold said, "We were fortunate to get 2 goals out of Hibbler's line. Usually I'd be happy with a goal in a weekend, but 2 in one game is great." Bobcats played Union on Saturday. We'll recap that game shortly.
Women's hockey hosted Union Friday night. Sports Paws was there, and here are the highlights. Now, Union has never beaten Quinnipiac in women's hockey history, but Union struck first here as the Dutch woman scored on a goal by Stephanie Thompson, assisted by Lauren Hoffman. Now, the Bobcats countered back at the end of the first period on a power play with a deflection from Kate Wheeler to the net, assisted by Bethany DeMarzik and Jordan Elkins. After this goal, the Bobcats just started to slaughter the Dutch women. Late in the second period, the Bobcats go around to the left side as Erika Yoon Johansson passes to Nicole Costa, and Nicole Costa shoots it between and scores. And the Bobcats were not done scoring yet. In the third period, Erika Yoon Johansson, on a pass from Regan Bolton, scores right here, making it 3-1 Bobcats. Now, Kelly Babstock at this moment was 1 goal away from tying the all-time record for goals at Quinnipiac, and here it was, assisted by Nicole Costa. But Kelly Babstock was not done, as she goes for the record right here, making it 5-1 Bobcats. Senior Michaela Spissel makes her first appearance in a game since her junior year against Sacred Heart, but Emma Rambo from the Dutch women scored on an assist by Molly Kane Devon, but the Bobcats answered right back on a goal by Amanda Collin, assisted by Brienne Frickus. Kelly Babstock finished the game with 2 goals and an assist for the Bobcats. And a side note, Babstock surpassed former Bobcat Elise Coles for the all-time goals record in just her 68th game. The Bobcats were looking to add to their first victory on Saturday when they faced RPI. Highlights from that game are coming up.
Men's hockey played nationally ranked Union in their second game of the weekend up in Schenectady. The Bobcats saw a different result in this game, losing 5-2 to the 8th ranked team in the country. Union scored 3 goals in the third period to put away the Bobcats. 5 different players scored for the Dutchmen. For Quinnipiac, goals came from Corey Hibbler and Bryce Van Brabant. Bobcats are now 8-8-4 in the conference and 16-11-5 overall. Women's hockey was looking for a weekend sweep. Game 2 was against RPI at the Bank. Before the game, the Bobcats honored 6 seniors: Bethany DeMarzik, Kate Wheeler, Jordan Elkins, Chelsea Ilchuk, Melissa Perry, and Michaela Spissel. Here are the highlights from Senior Day at the Bank. First period, Regan Bolton with an opportunity. The shot is stopped, but Brianne Frickus is there for the goal. 1-0 Bobcats. Quinnipiac fans there on Senior Day excited for this one. Nicole Costa, she is stopped, but Kelly Babstock answers her first goal of the afternoon, and it's 2-0. Now Jordan Smelker with an opportunity, but the junior Victoria Vigilante says no. Kelly Babstock with another opportunity here, gets the puck up along off the boards. Her second of the night. Bobcats jump ahead even further. Now an opportunity here for Bethany DeMarzik, the senior on Senior Day, getting the empty netter, putting a bow on it, and the Bobcats with the win as they celebrate on Senior Day, taking the weekend sweep against Union and RPI. A 5-1 final on Saturday afternoon. And the team having a little fun afterwards as they skate down to the other end of the bench, and then the ice, and hit the easy button. Kelly Babstock recorded her first hat trick of the season in the contest. Senior Bethany DeMarzik was the only senior to score on Senior Day for the Bobcats. Junior Brianne Frickus also scored for Quinnipiac. The team has solidified itself as a 6th seed in the conference tournament and will travel to face 3-seed Clarkson in Potsdam, New York this weekend. Gio is with hockey analyst Mark Spillane to break things down. Gio, take it away.
Thanks, Miles. It's time to throw it to a break. Oh, no, I'm sorry about that. Before, folks, I'm here to introduce Mark Spillane here. Mark, how are you doing today?
Fairly good. How are you doing?
I'm doing pretty good myself. Let's talk about the men this weekend. They beat RPI 3-1, and they lost to Union 5-2 at Union. Your thoughts on the way they performed this weekend?
Well, I think they did exactly what everyone expected them to do this weekend. They went out and they beat RPI on Friday night in a strong performance, and then they fell to a very tough Union team on Saturday. But that's really nothing to be ashamed of. Union is the best team in the ECAC. They have the top statistical defense and top statistical goalie in the entire nation, in Troy Grosenick. So I don't think that's anything for them to be ashamed of. And I think they built some positive momentum coming out of this weekend. And they go into the next weekend, and they kept themselves close enough to at least try to make a run for that fourth seed in the entire ECAC to get a home playoff series after the first round bye.
And your thoughts on how the women performed this weekend? They had a 6-2 win over Union and a 5-1 RPI victory.
Well, I think the women's team did a very good job this weekend. It was exactly what the doctor ordered. I think it was exactly what they needed to do. They got 2 very impressive wins, and Kelly Babstock finally got the goals record here at Quinnipiac, and that helped her get that monkey off the back, as they would say, so that she can just focus on helping the team now. And they really got some momentum going up to Clarkson next weekend. We know it's going to be a tough series, but I think this is exactly what they needed to do heading into that series.
Well, thank you, Mark. It's time to throw to a break, but when we come back, highlights from today's women's basketball game as the Bobcats hosted St. Francis of New York. This is Sports Paws.
Back on Sports Paws, I'm Miles McQuiggan. He's Gio Mio, and Gio, women's basketball is having quite the year.
Yeah, Miles, since the 2007 and 2008 season, Tricia Fabry's Bobcats have not won 20 games in a season. This year, though, they had an impressive run through the NEC and have reached 20 wins after defeating the Long Island Blackbirds 54-51 in overtime. Sophomore Brittany McQuain led the Bobcats with 18 points and 11 rebounds. For the Blackbirds, Ashley Palmer led the team with 29 points. The Bobcats forced Long Island into 24 turnovers, while QU turned it over 15 times. Highlights of the game today against St. Francis are coming up.
Men's basketball game at Long Island followed the women's game on Saturday. The Bobcats were defeated by LIU 99-89. Ike Azatam led the Bobcats with 22 points. Saeed Hurst and Usman Drame added career highs with 19 points and 16 points respectively. Drame also pulled down 10 rebounds for the double-double, and Hurst totaled 8. Blackbirds were led in scoring by C.J. Garner and Julian Boyd, who each registered 25 points. With the loss, Quinnipiac drops to 8-8 in the conference and 15-12 overall.
Women's basketball played host to St. Francis, New York today. The Bobcats were in search of win number 21, and to the bank we go. Now the Bobcats basically had a blowout here, but Cameron Moore to carry Goodshell for 3, as now freshman Jasmine Martin will pass the ball to Felicia Barron, and Barron to her right makes a ridiculous shot, and it goes in for 2. And the Bobcats play some very good defense here. And a shot from the Terriers misses. Rebound by QU. Pass to Lisa Liebeck. Liebeck with a half-court heave to Jasmine Martin, who gets fouled on the layup and makes the shot. Felicia Barron was not done doing crazy plays here, as a rebound by Quinnipiac. Pass to Jasmine Martin, who goes through 3 defenders and makes the layup for 2. Felicia Barron was not done with her antics, as she goes to her right, tries to cross over, makes a ridiculous shot, swish nothing but net for 2 points. And the defense was good for the Bobcats here, as St. Francis tries to go for the shot, turns the ball over, all the way to Felicia Barron in transition, makes the fast break layup for 2. Now, as the St. Francis Terriers did try to score here, as a shot by Stephanie Bingham misses, but a rebound by Sarah Bendetti with the putback for 2. She led the team with 10 points. But the Bobcats answered back. Here's Dunbar to Jasmine Martin for 3, and with that did it for the Bobcats.
One of our best wins that I've ever been a part of here at Quinnipiac for 17 years is really saying something, is really special. So I was just, worried about our mindset and a little bit of a letdown, and that wasn't the case starting the game today.
Absolutely. Every game, defensively, I feel like defense wins championships. So, yeah, turns into our offense and gets us going, gets us in the flow of the game, gets us sweating, like all that, brings the game together.
It's exactly what you want going down the stretch, getting ready for the madness, that you have these key matchups, and that's why we do what we do for the remainder 11 months out of the year, to get ourselves in a position right now for the final 2 regular season games, and then looking forward to the conference tournament.
Freshman sensation Jasmine Martin led the Bobcats with a career-high 16 points. Senior Carrie Goodshell added 14 points, and redshirt junior Felicia Barron posted 12 points. For the 3rd time this season, the Bobcats held an opponent to under 30% shooting. With the victory, Quinnipiac improved its conference record to 13-3. The next game for women's basketball is on Saturday. The Robert Morris Colonels are in town for an afternoon showdown. That game is set to start at 1:30 in the afternoon. Miles is with analyst Ben Diaz to talk about the upcoming weekend of basketball. Miles?
Thank you, Gio. Here in the Sports Paws studio with our basketball analyst Ben Diaz. Ben, the last weekend of regular season play in the NEC, both the men's and women's team have both clinched a spot in the NEC tournament. They have the same 2 opponents coming up this weekend in Robert Morris and St. Francis of Pennsylvania. Starting out with the men's team, St. Francis on Thursday, Robert Morris, the highly anticipated national TV showdown on Saturday. What are your expectations for the Bobcats in these 2 games?
Well, Miles, I think the Bobcats are in good position to get 2 wins. St. Francis of Pennsylvania, they should beat fairly easy. Robert Morris, on the other hand, as we all know, 3 out of the last three seasons in a row in the playoffs. However, Quinnipiac has fared fairly well in the regular season against them. Over winter break in January, the Bobcats won 78-76 at Robert Morris. So I feel that the game's it's gonna be a tight game, hard-nosed defense. It's gonna come down to the last 5 minutes.
Now, that's kind of been the theme over the last couple years, has been Quinnipiac goes out to Moon Township, they win at Robert Morris. Then there's the big, highly anticipated TV game here in Hamden, and Quinnipiac comes up just short. Is this a possibility of that same thing happening again on Saturday?
Well, I think with the absence of Jamie Jackson, that the Bobcats, it's going to be a nail-biter, and I think each team could win.
Moving towards the women, they sit 1 game back of Sacred Heart, still fighting for that #1 seed and home court advantage in the NEC tournament. Their first-round game will be next weekend here in Hamden, but you got to take care of business Saturday, Monday. Saturday against Robert Morris, Monday against St. Francis. What are your expectations for this team?
I think Quinnipiac is on a collision course to play Sacred Heart, the top 2 teams in the conference. And I think that they should easily win the last 2 games. Coach Fabry preaches defense, and their defense always comes to play. They're one of the top teams holding their opponents under 50% field goal percentage and under 50% total points in a game. And their defense is one of the keys to why they're playing so well this season. And their depth is another key. They have 13 players who play consistent minutes, and that wears teams down as the season goes along. So those are the top reasons why they're a force to be reckoned with.
All right, thank you, Ben Diaz, our Sports Paws basketball analyst. Time for a break. When we come back, analyst Mark Spillane will dissect the upcoming hockey events, and also our John Alba was able to sit down with men's basketball head coach Tom Moore. This is Sports Paws.
Welcome back to Sports Paws. We are once joined again by hockey analyst Mark Spillane. Spillane, how are you doing?
Fairly well. How are you doing, Gio?
I'm doing very well myself. We first talked about the thoughts on the men's performance this weekend. Let's talk about their expectations entering the playoffs. They're currently ranked 6th in the ECAC standings, which means they would get a home game but not get a first-round bye. They play Brown and Yale this weekend. Where do you see the Bobcats at the end of this weekend?
Well, I think the Bobcats are going to have to at least win both games if they want to have a chance to move into 4th seed in the ECAC and get that first-round bye. They need a little help in front of them with Clarkson and Harvard being right there in front of them. Clarkson 2 points ahead, Harvard 1 point ahead, and I think they're going to get that help. Clarkson and Harvard play each other this weekend, so that's going to be a big help for them because both teams can't win, obviously, so that's going to help them catch up on the points. I think they're going to win both of those games next weekend against Brown and rival Yale, and I think they're going to slip into that 4th seed and get the home playoff game in the second round with the first-round bye.
All right, now to the women's side. The women's ice hockey team actually ended their season this weekend and are currently ranked 6th in the ECAC conference as well as the men's team. And they go up to Potsdam to face Clarkson in the best out of 3 series at Clarkson. How do you think the women's ice hockey team will perform in the first round?
Well, it's a long ride, and it's not going to be easy. It's definitely going to be a tough road after that long bus ride of about 8 hours, so it's going to be tough for the Bobcats. But the way they're playing right now after this great weekend led by Kelly Babstock and her 5 goals, I think that this is finally the turnaround that we've been waiting for the Bobcats, as we haven't seen them play this well since they won 7 games in a row before the break. So I think we're going to see a good, strong performance by the Bobcats in those 3 games up there, and I think they're going to take a 2-1 series victory over the Clarkson Golden Knights.
You heard it from here, guys. Our hockey analyst, Mark Spillane. Back to you, Miles.
Thank you, Gio and Mark. As we prepare for the huge weekend of sports ahead of us here in Hamden, many are eager to hear the thoughts of a head coach as we get closer to the big events. Our very own John Alba had a chance to sit down with men's basketball head coach Tom Moore to talk about the upcoming weekend.
I'm sitting here with Bobcats head coach, Mr. Tom Moore. Tom, thanks so much for joining me today.
My pleasure.
Really appreciate it. Now, you're heading into the final stretch of the season. You've got Robert Morris on the 25th. It's one of the biggest days in Quinnipiac University history in terms of athletics. Last season, some disappointment against Robert Morris at home. First off, what are your expectations for your squad going into that contest?
Well, it's been a neat rivalry, I guess, that we've sort of developed with Robert Morris in the last couple of years. They've been at the top of the league, and we've been, both of us, I guess, have sort of been 1-2 or 1-2-3 with LIU in the last couple of years, and we've gotten the better of them in the regular season recently, and both down there and up here. But as all Quinnipiac fans know, they've ended our season the last 2 years on our court.
What are some of the difficulties that come with playing on a nationally televised game?
Well, I think our guys in the 2010 championship game was the last one that was on ESPN2. I think they were more rattled by the enormity of the game and the enormity of the crowd here at the TD Bank Sports Center, more so than being on national television. I don't see it changing our guys too much when we've been on ESPNU or when we've been on Nesson or we've been on MSG, Sports Channel New York or anything like that. I don't see too much a change in their temperament at all.
What's your mentality in terms of game plan going into a game like the Robert Morris matchup?
Well, Robert Morris plays a very unique man-to-man defensive style. They switch everything from the point guard position all the way up to the power forward position, and they don't switch on the center. And what it does is when you go into a game with them, you got to practice a specific way for a couple days, and you have to sort of game plan and streamline your offensive sets.
Student fan support's been a little low this year. How important is that fan support going into the final matchup of the season like this?
Yeah, it would be an enormous boost for our team if the students came out. It means the world to us. Our kids really appreciate it and really enjoy it, and I just think it's a great way to show, even if you're not a great basketball fan. I mean, I think it's a great way to show support to Quinnipiac. It's a great social gathering.
Coach, thank you so much for that. Really much appreciated. And for Coach Tom Moore, I'm John Alba, Sports Paws. Now back to you guys back in the.
Thank you, John. That'll do it for this week's show. We'll be back next week for more on everything Quinnipiac athletics, including men's hockey's rivalry battle with Yale, women's ice hockey's first-round ECAC matchup at Clarkson, plus men's and women's basketball hosting the teams from the Keystone State in the final weekend of NEC action. For more information on Q30, including how to get involved, visit Q30.org or follow Q30 on Twitter at twitter.com/Q30television. And for live coverage of all Quinnipiac home games, plus game recaps, features, and more, log on to theqbsn.com. For our analysts, Ben Diaz and Mark Spillane, for my co-host Gio Mio, and for everyone behind the scenes, I'm Miles McQuiggan. Until next time, so long.